It all started on a Wednesday night, a night like any other. I woke up to the shrill sound of my alarm, the same tone I'd been using for years, but somehow it felt more grating than usual. I groaned, rolled over, and hit snooze. Just a few more minutes, I thought. My body felt heavy, my mind still foggy from the remnants of sleep. The room was dim, the blackout curtains keeping the daylight out, a necessity for two people working night shifts. As I lay there, I heard him moving around in the apartment. Plates clinked in the kitchen, and the faint sound of a YouTube video played from his phone. The familiarity of our routines was comforting, but something about that morning felt off. I couldn't place it at first. Maybe it was the lingering exhaustion or the tension that had been building between us lately. Then I heard footsteps approaching. The bedroom door creaked open, and he stood there, silhouetted against the hallway light. "Are you going to get up in time to cook, or do I need to make food for myself?" he asked, his tone flat but with a hint of irritation. I blinked, still half asleep. "Just give me a minute," I mumbled, my voice groggy. He lingered for a moment before closing the door with a soft click. I sighed, knowing that even that brief exchange had set the tone for the day. Things hadn't been great between us lately. We'd been together for 3 years, living together for 2, and somewhere along the way, the little things started to pile up. Unspoken frustrations, unresolved arguments, misunderstandings that festered in silence. I got up and went to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face to wake myself up. As I wiped my face with a towel, I heard his phone playing more videos in the kitchen. It was a familiar background noise in our apartment. But then, the bathroom door slowly started to open. Fresh out of sleep and still groggy, I was startled. I stood there, staring wide-eyed as he came in. "Why are you looking at me like that?" he snapped. I blinked, confused. "I'm just surprised. You scared me." His expression darkened. "You always have an attitude. I don't like it." I took a step back, trying to keep my voice calm. "I'm not giving you an attitude. I just woke up." He crossed his arms, leaning against the doorframe. "You should always give me great energy. Be excited to see me." I felt a knot of frustration forming in my chest. This wasn't the first time he'd accused me of having an attitude when I was simply tired or quiet. I didn't want to argue, not so early in the day. So I nodded, trying to de-escalate. "Okay, I'll try to be more mindful," I said softly. But he wasn't satisfied. "You need to fix your nasty attitude. I'm tired of it." And with that, he stormed out, leaving me standing there, towel in hand, heart pounding in my chest. When I came out of the bathroom, he was in the kitchen, making himself food. The smell of eggs and toast filled the apartment. I walked over, hesitant. "Why are you making food? I was going to cook," I said. He didn't look up. "Didn't feel like waiting for your attitude to ruin my day." That was it. The knot of frustration unraveled, and I couldn't hold back anymore. "Why are you doing this? Why are you turning everything into a fight?" I asked, my voice rising. He turned to face me, his eyes cold. "You don't listen. You never listen. All you do is talk over me." "Because you're being unfair," I shot back. "You can't just walk around accusing me of things and expect me to stay silent." And that's when it happened. He slapped me. The sound echoed in the small kitchen, a sharp crack that seemed to freeze time. My cheek burned, and for a moment, I couldn't process what had just happened. I stared at him, wide-eyed, hand pressed to my cheek. "You should never talk over your man," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "You need to learn to shut up and listen." My mind raced. This wasn't us. This wasn't the man I thought I knew. Yes, we'd had physical altercations in the past, mutual pushing and shoving in heated moments, but we'd both agreed never to let it happen again. And this was different. This was deliberate. "Get out," I whispered. He stared at me, confused. "What?" "Get out." He hesitated, then stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I stood there for what felt like hours, my mind replaying the slap over and over. I thought about our relationship, about how we'd gotten to this point. I thought about the love we once shared, the laughter, the dreams we'd built together, and I wondered if it was all gone. Later that night, he came back. I heard his car pull up, the sound of the engine cutting off. The door opened, and he walked in, his footsteps heavy. He found me in the bedroom, sitting on the bed, staring at the wall. "We need to talk," he said. I didn't respond. He sat down beside me, his tone softer now. "I'm sorry, I was frustrated. You wouldn't listen to me. I just lost it." I turned to face him, my eyes filled with tears. "That's not an excuse." I know it's not. But I love you. I don't want to lose you." "Then why did you hit me?" He looked away, unable to meet my gaze. "I don't know. I need to start protecting my energy." "Protecting your energy?" I repeated, incredulous. "By hurting me?" He didn't answer, and in that silence, I knew. This wasn't something we could come back from. This wasn't something I could forgive. The next morning, I packed a bag and left. I didn't tell him where I was going. I didn't need to. I knew that if I stayed, it would only get worse. Love isn't supposed to hurt. It's not supposed to leave you feeling broken and afraid. I stayed with a friend for a few weeks, slowly piecing myself back together. I blocked his number, deleted our photos, and started the long process of healing. But the memories lingered. The good times, the laughter, the dreams we once shared. And I wondered, would I ever truly move on? It's been 6 months since I left him. I've moved to a new city, started a new job, and surrounded myself with people who love and support me. I'm learning to love myself again, to trust myself. And while the scars of that night remain, they no longer define me, because I've realized something important. I deserve better. We all do.